Heavy, shallow wheelbarrow that they use to bring in materials into this cave. 70 pounds. And it's why it was 18 to 24-year-olds, because I'm 40 years old. You cannot pay me enough to lug that thing around. We've also got an example of the light bulb, the big old light bulb that was used here in this cave to light it up, and some of their tools.
The rock is darker, it's more purpley.
Where?
Well, yeah, here.
Oh, so that's a iron content forming hematite. And it's mostly here in this area. Yeah, there's little bits of iron here. Yeah, right? Like, how many trees you can get in the pit?
Beautiful. Cool lantern. Ooh, pretty. Going to those White Watcher steps. My dad used to bring us in here, and then he would go off the trails down a hidden tunnel, and we'd get lost. But we had fun. Nobody got hurt. Oh, wow. What is down there?
If you need to take the mask down to breathe, I'm not gonna get on your case. The air's thick up here, you know. Once we head down this staircase, the air's gonna be a lot easier to breathe. Now, this is the domino staircase, because if the last person falls, we all fall with you. A bit of a team building exercise. I've made my peace with God. So hold on to the rails.
This is crazy. So many places to fall down in and get hurt too. So be careful. That's not real. I feel like I'm in like some kind of pyramid. You know? Going down. It's getting cooler. Check it out. Ooh, beautiful. Wow, guys, look at this. Another space right there.
Yeah, but then I also need a rich uncle who's already in the industry.
Come here.
So, we are in the lowest, deepest part of the cave right now. We are 65 feet down, about 6 stories down from the surface. And whenever this cave drains out of water, this is where it recedes to. We've got the natural cave flooring here. It's kind of light, dusty dirt. And then the only part of the natural cave flooring that we walk on this tour is this little sheet of rock here. This is called cave ice. And it forms when limestone dust falls onto still water. So we call this a living room for a couple reasons. First, when Frank was doing his initial expeditions and tours, this is where they started them. This was the base of operations. How they would get down here, because they didn't have stairs or rails or anything, was down a huge hole that I'm going to show you guys later. So once you get down here, you pretty much stay down here. Now, they would set up tables, cots, lamps here, play poker, drink whiskey, drink poker, play whiskey, and they would go explore the cave. Expeditions lasted from 5 hours to 6 days, depending on how much whiskey they had, and they ended up mapping out the entire navigatable cave network, just 3.5 miles. Now, he also brought his tourists down here, take them down that big hole, and this is where they would start the tours. But we really call this living room because eventually Frank moved his wife and daughter into the gift shop, which was the house that we built. So during the summers, some of you may or may not know, it gets brutal down here. I mean, we're talking 120 degrees sometimes down here in southern Arizona. So, no AC in the 20s, so he would bring his poor wife and daughter down that big hole. This is where they would camp out during the summers, hence the living room. And if you look behind you, much more of that cave vandalism. It is in every room in this cave. Even all the off the beaten path tours run into it in every single room, in every single tunnel. And of course, that all ended with Frank.
Beautiful.
So, this is the cathedral room here. Just 2 things of note. On your left, 4 praying nuns. They are praying for us because on the right, here behind me, is Bone Crusher, the ugliest rock I've ever seen in my life. Call him Bone Crusher because somebody once asked the tour guide a question. He whipped his face around and broke his nose off. So watch out for Bone Crusher. Then we're going to be heading up the staircase. Halfway up the staircase is a little rock that comes down the right called Shoulder Smasher, or for kids, Noggin Knocker. So I'm going to point it out to the people behind me, point it out to the people behind you, and none of us get hurt.
Takes 100 years to grow 1 inch. Look at that. People breaking them off. No more stealing. Wow. Nice place to camp.
Watch your hands, watch your shoulders coming up this staircase here. So everybody look up there into that hole there. That's an old mining shaft built by the CCC in the 30s. It's one of 2 entrances that they use to bring materials into this cave. The other entrance was the one that we used. And where it leads to is the parking lot. So we are underneath our cars right now. Unless that freaks you out, then we're not. Now, you're going to see where that leads when you're leaving today. At the end of the parking lot, right before the exit on the left side, is a sunken shack-like structure in the ground. That's the other end of the shaft. And it still goes up about 30 feet up from there. It's a pretty big shaft. And as we notice up here, the air gets thick again.
Stay tuned.